in India at the Sharu Classic in Mumbai, we see Kai Greene guest posing. And Kai Greene looks incredible, as Kai always does. He's just wacky looking. When you watch him do his routine, you just see why he's one of the best entertainers in all bodybuilding, maybe of all time. He's unconventional. He moves in interesting ways that other bodybuilders don't move. He does unconventional poses, which is what, makes him an artist in a sense. And I think that it's interesting that here's one of the best posers in the sport who's still packing probably the most muscle per square inch on his body, and the guy hasn't done the Mr. Olympia contest for 2 years. Meanwhile, Kevin Levrone, who's got no legs, is doing the Mr. Olympia contest. To me, it's just, what's wrong with the sport right here? What's going on? How come we can't get this guy who brought a country to its knees? If you look at the response when Johnny puts the final footage up there, they were going crazy in India. Why can't we get this guy on the Olympia stage? I can't believe that we can't sit down with this guy and have a mediation and figure out how to get this guy back on the Olympia stage. Because let's face it, at 42 years old or whatever he is, how many more years does he have left, to compete, at the top level of his, abilities? Because he's going to start to decline eventually, and he might be declining already. They always say, you don't notice you have lost your hair on your head until you've lost 50% of it already. So he might have, I'm sure he's on the decline already, but you haven't noticed it yet because he's just that good. But why can't we get this guy on the Olympia stage? Come on. Look at him climb that scaffold. He looks like King Kong from the King Kong movie climbing the World Trade Center. This is what we need in bodybuilding. This is exciting. Kai Greene is an exciting bodybuilder. He's got a ton of muscle. He's got crowd appeal. He's got probably the most followers of anyone in any social media in bodybuilding. He's, appearing in mainstream type stuff. This guy has got to get back on the Olympia stage. That means that whoever runs the Olympia and the powers that be need to sit down with Kai, his people, his lawyer, whoever runs his career for him, and negotiate what the problem is and work it out. Because you know who's suffering? The fans. Us, the fans. I'm a fan. I watch the shows. I watch the Mr. Olympia. I want to see the best competitors up on stage. And people ask me how Kai Greene would have done if he would have been on the Olympia stage. And my answer is, I don't know. Because until we see him up on that stage standing next to these guys, you can't make a prediction. But there's a pretty good chance that he would be in the top two because he's been there before. And he looks pretty close to, the way he's looked in years past. He won the Arnold Classic, granted, by a hair, but Cedric McMillan was probably the best we'd ever seen him. So the fact that, it was that close between him and Cedric is meaningless because Cedric is a top-tier, pro. I want to see Kai back on that stage. I know that there's some kind of conflict there in terms of egos and people feeling like their feelings have been hurt, and this one doesn't want to give that, and that one doesn't give this. But let's face it, after all is said and done, in 10 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to say, why couldn't we make this happen? God damn it. Look at this guy. Look at him. We got Kevin Levrone has to bring people into their chairs in the Olympia with no legs. Why can't Kai Greene, who's got a complete physique, he won 3 Arnold Classics last year, why can't we get him on the Olympia stage? I say let's make it happen.